I think we're recording. Hey there, welcome to This is Backers Live. I'm Justin Fox. I've got Akshat Sharma and JP Rukeshaba from Rukbe. Welcome, guys, to the show here today.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. So, JP, you and I talked the other day. You know, obviously, you're the founder and CEO of Rukbe. You guys are currently raising capital on the Backers platform. So, if people are so inclined, they can obviously go check that out. You have your offering there. All the information is there. And if they're so inclined, they can invest up to $2,500 into Rukbe. But today, and we'll talk a little bit about why they might want to do that and all those fun, cool things from a user perspective. But we have Akshat here, who is sort of not necessarily the brains. Obviously, JP's the brains, but Akshat is the brains a little bit around the AI and sort of the development of the AI. So I'd love to kind of pick your brain a little bit. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your background, and we could talk a little bit about how Rukbe is using AI to enhance essentially personal finances, right? Or finances for people. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, just like you said, my name's Akshay, and I've been like working with tech ever since I was a kid. I got into it because of video games, like everybody technically,
Right.
and then that interest just like kept on going. And then I developed my first app when I was like in ninth grade.
Okay.
So recently, when like Gen AI started becoming popular, I started looking into opportunities with that, and that's when I came in contact with Rukbe. And then they were looking for like a AI solution for regular people who don't know anything about finances, cannot afford like an accountant. It costs like $2,000 to $3,000 to do all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like too expensive, right? So what we're basically doing is, let's say you go to a store, you buy something, and you say like, oh, maybe I should spend this much. Maybe I can just buy it, right? My gross income is this much. I can probably just afford it. But sometimes people make mistakes that way. They don't take care of their credit. They don't take care of emergency funds or their retirement, which like causes issues. So what our AI basically does is that we have like a bookkeeping solution in like the backend where you can just take your like receipts or like enter your data yourself if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And then the AI will look over all of that data. And then what it will do is that if you ask questions, for example, like how much should I borrow, or like can I afford this, or can I afford like to buy a car, or like can I afford like $3,000 for my mortgage or whatever, these questions the AI will answer, and then it will give like realistic feedback based off of your data rather than some of these solutions like which like OpenAI or like Google has implemented, which is like a all-round solution. Our solution just focuses on finances and your finances based off of your data and nothing else.
Interesting. So tell us, it's interesting. Tell us a little bit about, let's dive in. Obviously, we're talking to, both potential users as well as potential investors in Rukbe. Tell us a little bit, dive into, let's pull up the hood a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what's under the hood from an AI perspective. You mentioned you've developed the AI component of Rukbe. Tell us a little bit about, what languages you're using, what platform, how you've implemented it from a technology standpoint.
Yeah, so basically we're all of our infrastructure related to AI is hosted on AWS.
Okay.
We use a service called AWS Bedrock, which basically provides a lot of like foundational models that you can train your data on. So for us, we are using Claude. Specifically, if you want like more details, we're using Claude 3.
Okay.
And then, sorry. So we're using Claude, and then basically it's like a very smart model built for like everyday use. We specifically tailor that model for finances using like a exceptionally high like data sources and like RAGs. RAG is basically retrieval augmented generation. It basically means that rather than the LLM or like Gen AI looking into its own database or like its own knowledge, it will look at your data, that data that you provide as sources to actually generate answers. So that's what we basically do with the AI. The other thing that was like an integral part of the development was to make sure that the user's data stay safe. So the thing is that with any data that you put on the app, we would obviously have access to that because that's like bookkeeping solution.
Right.
But we also have like an enterprise solution, which is a portal. Any data that you put on that is encrypted. And then unless like law enforcement or anybody like asks us to fetch that data for you, we cannot access that. And then you have complete control over that data. That data will never be used to like train the model further, to improve the AI or anything, which gives like businesses or like users like a safety that their data is not being like misused, or like somebody else have like access to their like business finances or like their personal finances. Because when we were like talking to people or like talking to potential like clients, the biggest concern they had was the data. Because with AI, the biggest issue is that your data could be used to train the AI, and then if somebody asks a question similar to what your data like is about, then your data could be shown to them, which is not something that we wanted to do. That's why all the data is encrypted. And then just to like emphasize, that was like the most important part during the development.
Okay, cool. So obviously you've got the two different, I guess, products, if you will. You've got the enterprise and sort of more of the personal use case. JP, why don't jump in here? JP, you're the founder and CEO, and obviously the original brains. And we had the conversation that you came up with this idea. You've got sort of the accounting background. You had this idea come to you, 20. I think you said as early as 2012, and then with technology, kind of was it 2015 is when you kind of really started to build it, but you saw the opportunity earlier on, and this technology started to advance, right? Why don't you walk through your thoughts, for potential users and potential investors on why Rukbe is what it is, and why it's important for people to have, and at this moment, why you're bringing it to market, or have been, over the last few years, what it brings to people, and maybe why people could invest in kind of a, I don't want to give you like in a nutshell, but in like a Cole's notes, and then we'll dive into some of the use cases. But give us kind of like a why would somebody want to use it, and why would somebody want to invest in Rukbe?
All right. So rugby comes from the things which you observe in our daily lives, where when it comes to financial literacy, there is a lot of limitations, given that even the school system doesn't really give us the foundational knowledge to be able to handle the finances. And as I said, this comes from my experience working with small businesses, where uh, all of them have got their technical knowledge, based on which industry they operate in. They could be carpenters, they could be bricklayers, they could be consultants, but eh, most of them lack the knowledge which will allow them to make decisions based on the information they have. So I will pull back a little bit and pretty much summarize the normal process for making decisions when it comes to finances. One, you got to have your financial data organized in a certain way. Second, you need to be in a position to be able to interact with the data, to understand it and manipulate it, if you would call it. Then from that moment, you can be able to make a decision. So a lot of people, the majority of the people, the regular people, the small business communities, um, either they lack the their data is not organized, and they are not able to make decisions based on or that data. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Just a second. Junior, 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 please don't make noise. I'm on the phone.
This is the technical difficulties of being. This is why I watched a commercial on. I think it was on TV. Working from home. I
I've,
remember just
I've,
not to go to two side, but do you remember before COVID, the guy was on like CNN, and the kid came walking in the room, and the mom came like, and everyone thought he wasn't wearing pants. Now it's just a common occurrence.
I,
But
I
anyways,
think we,
so
we, we should
yeah.
have gone, we should have gone to a platform. Hmm?
What's that? Sorry.
Platform Calgary?
Yeah. I'm going to be
Yeah,
coming to
it's a,
Platform Calgary next week.
yeah,
Yeah.
we should have gone there and do it there. Right.
Oh, that's all good. And we're
Yeah, we
all
can.
working from home, right? The whole
Okay.
world is arguably working
So
from home.
I
So
can
yeah,
continue. All right.
yeah, for sure.
So from the small businesses perspective, most of the small business owners, they don't have those free steps, meaning having their data organized, then have the capacity to interact with the data and make a decision based on the data. So that is missing. That's why most of them they rely on their checkbook. Uh, Decisions are based on how much money is in the bank account, and also if it's not that, even when they have to share the data or have interaction with bankers, with financial advisors, they usually find themselves in the position of being lectured, uh, not not really being in a position where they can answer back and query because they don't have a foundational knowledge. So why rugby? Rugby really is a game changer in the sense that we are trying to democratize the financial literacy, making everybody capable of handling his finances, because the technology we have today allows us to do it. And in the end, our goal is to put the know-how of a finance manager at the fingertips of everyone, small businesses, individual, whoever wants to use rugby.
Cool. So it kind of and I like the thing that I think is kind of interesting is that interactiveness, right? We talk about the strategic, so maybe I don't know who wants to kind of delve into this a little bit because I think that that's the core, at least from my opinion, maybe I'm missing it is the core is that, it's costly whether you're a small business owner, personal finances to have that person readily there. You talk about, we're all working from home. The idea of having everyone around the boardroom table, having that meeting where everyone, you've got all the people that are involved right at your fingertips to give you all the information. That's not as readily available for any business, arguably, not just small businesses. But now you have this ability to take your data, your financial data, embed it into the AI, and then have a meaningful conversation with the AI. I think is arguably one of the, from my understanding, one of the key points. Talk a little bit about how you came to kind of building that out, or the thought process maybe between the two of you. I don't know who wants to
Yeah,
go to discuss that.
I can take it on. So as I said when we talked the first time, is it's all about uh, having someone consider. In our beta we usually talk about a, we are very familiar with a deer in the headlights, right?
Right.
When a deer comes in in the headlights and doesn't have, it doesn't know what to do, where to move, where to go. So when it comes to finances, for a lot of people, we grew up being told that the only people who can handle finances, understanding the numbers, read financial statement, understand what they means, see technical terms like EBITDA and stuff like that, are people who have been at school, who have got formal training. Uh, so now think of a small business owner who will never be able to afford to hire a finance manager full time to be able to handle those finances for them. Uh, uh, Suppose he receives a financial statement or any document from a financial institutions, unless he can run to someone who understands to help him read it and uh, decipher it, understand the different sections, make sense of the numbers, uh, what we commonly call like metrics or some indicators. Unless he can afford someone, he will never be able to do that. That's why a lot of them, they will go heads on every single day operating. And let's say today we are on the, today's the 3rd, July 3rd. For example, if you meet a guy who, on the street who, let's say he has got a, he's a taxi driver, and you say, uh, since the beginning of the year, can you tell me roughly how much income you have made, right? And very few will be able to tell you. And you can say, okay, right. So, do you have an idea of your gross margins about how much you've made. First of all, gross margin is a word which is not he's not familiar with it, and he doesn't even have a way where to start and figure out what it is. So rugby really came to bridge that gap, that knowledge gap, so that everyone from young, old, small business owners, individuals, they can be able to always make decisions based on known data. Because they have got the data, they are the ones who initiate the transaction, either expenses or income.
Mm-hmm.
But that information, unless it's compiled, then analyzed or interacted in such a way that it's meaningful to the user, there's no way you can be able to make decisions. An example, a quick example I can give is, let's say you are in construction. You you have been working with subcontractors. You always hire them, but you see money comes in, goes, but you don't know how much they are taking of your revenue each month
Right.
because you don't have any parameters or any metrics to track it. Now, imagine yourself being in your own home office, uh, thinking, putting your hair, trying to understand, saying, "Ah, man, these guys, we are taking a lot of money from me, right?" But taking money from you and being able to put a finger on a number
Right.
or a percentage, it, it changes the game, right?
Right.
We all have a feel what the cost of life, things we spend money on, but until we say, let's say I make 10,000, and until I can come back and tell you, you know what, I have looked on my numbers for the last 4 or 5 months. For example, entertainment or going to a restaurant has been taking, like, let's say 5% of my my income. And until you are able to put a finger on it and put a number on it, it's very, very difficult to implement any corrective measures, right?
Right.
Because once you know it, you can say, now you know what, I don't want to spend more than 3%. Now, as you compare your data, since you lack the knowledge to be able to go and dive into your numbers and interact with it and analyze it, that's where the AI comes in because it sits on top of your data. Then you can interact with it with asking questions, different questions. Then it
Right.
will come up with answers and also give you some recommendation, always based on your personal situation.
Personal data. So, I mean, I think, yeah, back to that, it's that interactiveness. I mean, for those that are watching, I mean, obviously I was trying to pull up the site there, maybe show just kind of a walkthrough. Obviously, you have to download the app though to kind of see how it really works. But it's basically, arguably like a personalized chatbot in essence, right? Where you ask questions real time. Think of like a chat GPT, right? Where you ask it a question, it will answer or respond based on your data, right? And your financial current situation, right? And give you strategic potential advice or thoughts on that, right? So whether it's personal finances or small business or enterprise, right? So I think that's really cool because now you've got essentially a financial advisor in your pocket, right? In essence, right? You've got
Yeah.
an accountant or strategic financial advisor in your pocket or on your fingertips, right? At your fingertips. Why don't we talk a little bit about where you're at from a development perspective? It's obviously in market. The app is available. People can go to your site, download the app. Correct. They can
Yeah.
start to utilize it. So it's no longer just an idea. It's it's not in development. It's in market, right?
Yeah.
People can use it on both use cases. Tell us a little bit about where you see kind of your traction currently, and where you see kind of your traction going forward as far as how many users, what type of revenues, cost of the service, those types of. Give us some of the numbers. Maybe, I don't know, do you want to go with that, JP, or do you have some thoughts actually, or
Yeah,
maybe both of you can kind of.
I can take it from.
Yeah.
So, Rugby has been around. We are actually going in our third year of building it. In the first place, we knew that we wanted to build a platform where we have got which combines the um, the capturing of the data and the AI on top of it. As we started, we it wasn't very easy to pull off the AI part. So we have had the accounting side operational since last year in March.
Okay.
We only managed to get the AI working this year in February. Now, uh, and as we did it, we realized that there is another part of the market which we call the enterprise. People or businesses which will never use our app to uh, to to capture the data. I'm talking about businesses using other accounting systems like QuickBooks, Xerox, or whatever. So we had to build that enterprise solutions where they just upload their data, then they can have the opportunity to interact with the AI. Um, in terms of numbers, we at the beginning when we started, we talked about the AI, but we didn't have the AI working.
Right.
So the few clients we have, like about 10, they were mainly using it for the accounting side of it. So very few has been able to use the AI because now it's fully operational.
Okay.
Uh, uh, this coming week, we are starting to roll out the enterprise solutions. We have
Okay.
about 10, 10 users who are preparing themselves to get started with it. Uh, so when it comes to pricing, we have got different pricing models on the app, which is the app is really targeting those with no accounting system, nothing. They can just get in, put in the numbers. It's user friendly. It uses the regular language of the regular people. So you can either use it for the accounting part if you don't feel like you can take advantage of the AI. That's about $7 a month. If you want the accounting plus the AI, Taiki is branded as Taiki. That's $19 a month. Then we have got the enterprise solution, which starts around $99 a month.
Okay.
Uh, but I really want to emphasize on something very important because uh, rugby is about education, right? It's about improving everyone's knowledge. It's not about giving you another tool to compare data, to do the reporting, financial reporting. No, it's about we want everybody who uses it, the regular person, to while is using it or she's using it, she's improving on her financial knowledge to be able to handle the finances themselves. Just like I like saying, just like the way the world fought hard to get everybody to be able to read and write, so you can be able to understand the world around you, make better decision. It's the same thing. Our vision is to bring everybody to the same level of understanding, and there's no better way of learning than being involved and
Right.
involved with your own numbers, your own finances. Once you understand it, you can read it. You can AI can help you read it, understand it, and make decisions.
Interesting. So yeah, I mean, obviously the financial literacy aspect is huge in the modern world. You know, most people don't know. You know, they go to work, they make money, they're not even sure, you know, what they're paying in taxes, or you know, I just did a video on the side. I watched some people talking about investments, and people were like, "What's an investment?" I mean, it seems, in my opinion, out of the outlandish that somebody doesn't understand, you know, investments and investing and what, you know, what your returns and that sort of thing, and just in general your finances, right? You talk about car payments and interest rates and mortgage and all these other things that are involved in a personal financial kind of environment. But then you get into small businesses, people that are plumbers, like you mentioned, all these people that maybe aren't as financially literate. They're not accountants, they're not bookkeepers. They start to have to figure out their taxes and their cash flow and their profit and loss and all these different things. And it overwhelms them, I'm sure, at times, right? So having this kind of in their pocket would be a pretty cool tool that can help educate. It's not a replacement for, like you said, your other formats, right? Whether it's QuickBooks, Xero, or other kind of traditional accounting software, but it definitely gives you the ability to strategize in real time, right? Which was something I think you mentioned the last time we were talking about, same day, sort of reporting, right? Where it's like everything is right there at their fingertips, right? And so I think, I think you talked about, maybe, I don't know, actually, maybe this is sort of a technical question. I know you brought it up last time, JP, around like the fact that it's same day reporting and you didn't want the 1 month delayed that I think the banking information came from, say, like a QuickBooks, right? Where it's 30 days or more delayed. Talk a little bit about the real-time ability for somebody to engage with the AI. Maybe that's more of a technical
Yeah.
thing. Actually, you can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so let's say like let's say you're a personal user. I'll talk about the enterprise one later, but let's say
Yeah.
you just like download the app and you're like, it's like 10th of the month, like the month's not over and that kind of stuff. So what you do is that you get your like receipts, you just like write your expenses, your income and everything. Then as soon as your data is inputted, that's it. That's all you have to do. You can just go and talk to the AI instantly. It does not take, as soon as you input the data, as soon as you see the toast that says, oh, the data has been successfully inputted, that's when you can go and ask AI questions about it. You don't have to wait for the month end. You don't have to wait for your bank statements. You just input your data, you go buy something, and you can instantly show it. And then the AI will be able to recognize that, oh, you bought this, so maybe your expenses went up a little bit, and then maybe your income is not like able to keep up with that, just to give some examples. For the enterprise one, we didn't want to deal because the companies or like the short like small businesses might have like a lot of finances which would be very hard to keep track of. So what we did is that we used QuickBooks basically to like just you export like a CSV of your trial balances. Trial balance is just like your account summary for the month or like a particular time period, and then you just upload that. As soon as you upload that, the AI has access to it, and then every question you ask from then on would be based off of your latest data. It's like it's not even like the same day; it's like the same minute. Like as soon as you upload it, your charts, your dashboards, everything's are updated real time, and then you can see your purchases or like your income making a difference in real time on the portal.
Cool. And then you mentioned sort of on the enterprise side, how does that differ, I guess?
No, so like the second part where like your charts in the dashboard where you upload like a trial balance, that's for the enterprises. Because
Okay.
like a
Okay.
normal user would not, just like you said, they might not be literate or financially
Right.
literate with like QuickBooks and that kind of stuff to generate a trial balance. So
Okay.
we do that for them. So they just
Okay.
input like their receipts or like their stuff, and then we generate a trial balance for them.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
also, there's something I want to add. Both modules have got both solutions have got budgeting tools built in, and so for enterprise, for individuals, you can create your budget, so that then you have got uh, two data points, I would call it, your actual data of what is happening and your actual budget, and the
Okay.
AI will be able to find variances and tell you based on what you're doing and give you recommendation on the way forward.
Cool. So let's kind of weave a little bit here. Numbers that, like, how many users currently? What sort of traction do we have currently?
We have over 100 downloads.
Okay.
Obviously, our marketing is we are just figuring out how to kickstart the marketing and make it more um, uh, active, because
Okay.
we didn't want to do it before we could have the AI working.
Right.
Otherwise, we would be preaching something and doing something different.
Right. So I mean, that's arguably use of funds is
Yeah.
part of use of funds that you're raising is to market this. Is you've got the product built, it's developed, to this point. I'm sure there's tweaks and changes and add-ons you can make over time. So the product's in market. You're looking to obviously now get it out to a broader market. That's kind of the use of funds. So about 100 downloads. Tell if I were to be an investor. So say I'm a potential investor, potential user. I'm like, okay, it seems cool from a user perspective, to kind of have this strategic advisor in my pocket, both from a personal finance or from a business perspective. As a potential investor, tell us a little bit of some of the numbers. Like, where do you see Rukbe going? Obviously you're raising some capital on backers, and some of those funds, as per your offering and everything we've discussed, marketing and some other use cases or other use of capital. Where do you see Rukbe going in the next 1, 3, 5 years, as far as number of users, types of revenue streams, profitability? If I'm an investor, I want to see, what am I investing in? What is my potential? I mean, obviously there's no promise, and this is not financial advice across the board, right? As you might say, but where do you see Rukbe going in the near future?
All right. So if we obviously you have to have long-term plans, but at the same time be realistic. Uh, we believe within 18 months we should be close to 5,000 users that are subscribers, and that should take us close to 4 million revenues a year. Within 3 to 5 years, we should be close to 10 10,000 subscribers, and that would quadruple our annual revenues over the 10 million revenues a year. And also we will try to our goal is to have more B2B, because the consumer side takes time to build. So we will try to build more on the B2B side, which has got also the higher revenue, because we are paying around $99 a month
Right.
per user. Um, so our plan is really within 5 years, and it all hinges on how our marketing is going to work. And because remember, what we are doing is there's a lot of changing people's habits, getting people to feel confident to demystify the finances as we know it, and we consider ourselves like a movement which is changing the people habits, because in the marketplace, uh, you hear a lot about financial literacy, but when you look at it, what we are talking about are products, knowing how mortgage works, knowing how uh, insurance works, how you can protect what we have. But what we are doing us is at Rugby is going down and say, hey, before you even talk about savings, talk about investing, just learn how to make the money and keep them as much as you can. And you can't do it if you don't understand your finances, the nitty gritty of finances.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, it's a strategic. I mean, I keep coming back to that word. It's around the strategy, right? It's understanding not just the products and services that are available, but how to strategically use them, in the real world, right? Within your personalized use case, and then relying on AI to kind of create that answer for you, right? Based on the everything, your personal and sort of the world's information, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So obviously they can find you on backers.ca, currently raising there. Where else can they find you guys? Are you on social media? They can download it obviously on rukbe.com. So that's RUKBE.com. They can get there to get the app. Where else can they find you guys? Are you on social media? You're starting to build out your presence, or where can they find you guys?
We are on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And actually today I was able to, we are joining forces with a marketing company, which is going to
Okay.
help us. Uh, we haven't been very, very great on the marketplace. We
Right.
needed to get the right skilled people
Right.
to help to build our market, our presence in the marketplace.
Right.
But I'm on LinkedIn. Actually, it is on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
We are also on Alignable.
Okay.
Um, Social media, not yet much, but we will be there very, very soon.
Cool. Before we jump off, then I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on obviously raising capital on backers. Appreciate you guys jumping on backers. I know it's been about a week or so now since you've been listed there. What are your thoughts on maybe why somebody would want to invest, not just invest, but why using something like backers is beneficial for both Rukbe and the investors? What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear both your thoughts.
I I think personally, backers, I find backers as I would call it a community connector, is what
Right.
I would call it, because it's very funny because businesses are are, are made by people make up the businesses. They they help them thrive. They build them. Even though when big business becomes as big as we know them, they tend to be a little bit away from the communities. But I find uh, backers have found a way of bringing the regular guy, the, the guy who feels like he's concerned by the things which happens around them, like the finances. Everybody is always, for example, in the case of rugby, everybody's knows what finances does to us because it's something we deal with every single day. And 99% of the people they will tell you that they they learn something after making big mistakes.
Right.
Common one is the credit card. But now backers what is doing is getting to the regular guys because their contribution is not that high. There is minimum of $100, and wherever you are, whatever you do in life, you could be a student, you are a regular person, you work, whatever you do,
Yeah.
you can go to backers and be part of a movement,
Yeah.
support an organization like rugby, which is which has got its intent is to change the world as we know it when it comes to finances. It's coming in your home, it's coming in your everyday life. So the current generation and the future generations, everybody has got the same knowledge. Just like I said, just like everybody knows to read how to read and write, we want everybody to be able to read and write when it comes to finances.
Right. Understand their finances. Perfect. And yeah, backers is about building community around the businesses that are, impacting somebody's life, right? Firsthand, right? Everyone, utilizes these businesses, but now they have the actual opportunity to support, invest in, and help the businesses that they think are going to provide a change in the world to them, maybe individually. They can actually invest in them and see them and help them grow. I don't obviously
Yeah.
actually I'd love to hear your thoughts. I know we sort of touched on it a little beforehand and you're sort of new-ish to the concept over just the past little bit, but what are your thoughts on sort of backers as a financial investment tool versus we were sort of discussing offline the difference between sort of like Kickstarter crowdfunding versus sort of backers investment crowd investing. I don't know, what are your thoughts on backers and how you see it impacting Rukbe?
Just like JP said, I believe like it's a way for communities to support like a movement, like which
Right.
they can like resonate with. And then we also discussed about like previously people could only like get investors or like venture funds with via like high net worth individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's like, so it's like rich getting richer basically. But now people can actually like regular people, like just like JP said, students, if you're a student, small business owner, or just like a regular office job, you could just contribute to the movements or like the businesses that you support. Just like for us, our like goal is to just like improve financial literacy. And then I believe that's something a lot of people might like strike with, and because like some of them might themselves not be financially literate, just like how I wasn't when I started working here. But I
Right.
think it's a pretty good idea to have like a community that like businesses can go to, where like people can support them if they find their cause meaningful.
Yeah.
And as for like Kickstarter, I think like that's just more of like like a shot in the dark. Like it's a success or it's not a success, but here it's just like you work with the people, you like understand, and then you build a community around it. I think that's where like backers excel.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's definitely. I mean, it's basically it's your users, in this case, your people that are on your platform now can be invested in the future success and growth of your platform. So if it helps them, they're now invested in the success of it helping others, and it becomes this kind of like self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Where they're
Yeah,
invested shareholders in, let's say, Rugby. They learn from it. In your case, you learn from it,
yeah,
and then it benefits them. They also are a shareholder. The growth of Rugby also benefits them, because when Rugby ends up in that scenario that JP mentioned, with a number of users and x revenue. Now, as an investor, I invested at the early stages. Now my return or my investment grows with the growth of that company. So cool. Well, I appreciate you guys joining me. Thank you very much. Actually, I know you and I are probably going to do a one-on-one, maybe delve right into some of the technology side of it, maybe get a little
yeah.
bit more on your background, do a little bit of a one take there, maybe later in the week or early next week. But really appreciate you joining me as well. Obviously, JP, I really appreciate you joining me again. I'm sure we'll do this a couple more times as you've got the raise or the offering going. Any final words, thoughts, maybe as a founder, entrepreneur from each of you? Maybe like one sentence you want to say to anybody. What one quick parting? I'll go with you. Actually, go first. Any parting words? Any thoughts, comments, anything? What? Give us a quick one liner.
Like just don't stop chasing your dreams. You guys can do it.
There you go. Don't stop believing. Exactly. How about you, JP?
Get me involved, and I will learn.
Get involved and you'll learn, or get you involved.
Get yourself involved, and you learn.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's no better way than to learn, hands-on, right? I mean, you can read all the books and all the, whatever, but you actually get out there and do it. So,
Yeah.
all right, awesome. Appreciate it, guys. I'm going to say bye. Everyone else, Joseph Fox, Akshit, JP, Rukbe, check them out, rukbe.com, check out backers.ca, where everyone can invest in early stage startups on backers.ca. Cheers.